Guys, there are currently 9 open offensive coordinator positions across the NFL. We'll go through the list here real quick, but the Browns have an open offensive coordinator position with a current sitting head coach. So does Seattle. The other ones outside of New England who just hired Mike Vrabel also need to hire a head coach. Vegas and Dallas in the market for both a head coach and an offensive coordinator. Steve, take the next graphic for the Final Four. Chicago, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and the Jets all in the market for an offensive coordinator. When you look at the Browns' offensive coordinator opening versus the other 8 around football, Bull, where do you think the Browns' job ranks in terms of most attractive to some potential top-tier candidates?
Guys, I'm putting the Browns at 6 out of 9 spots, and it could be lower depending on who these teams hire as head coaches, and here's why. Dang. Bring up the jobs again, Mike, please. Okay, so I'd rather have Seattle because if I'm the OC at Seattle, I get to call plays.
Yep.
Because Seattle's head coach is a defensive guy. I'd rather be the OC at New England. I got a rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback in Drake May, who looked pretty good with no talent around him as a rookie. And again, I have a defensive head coach, so I'm going to call plays. At Dallas, I got Dak Prescott. So I got a proven quarterback. So I'm
number one receiver,
number one receiver. I got no running back. Oh, what's his name?
Rico Dowdle played pretty well.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle played well the second half of the year. So you got to deal with Jerry. It's a little bit of pain in the neck, but you're the OC. You're not the head coach. You don't have to deal with him that much. And so I got Dak, and we don't know. They might have a defensive coach too. Who knows? Okay, now I'd rather. And I'd rather have the Chicago job and the Jacksonville job because Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence. Now, Caleb was not great as a rookie, and Trevor Lawrence, to this point in his career, has been a disappointment. However, there's guys in this. Certainly Caleb Williams, nobody's writing him off yet after 1 year. He wasn't that bad as a rookie. He wasn't great, but he wasn't that bad. There's coaches in the NFL that think they can make Trevor Lawrence into a good quarterback. There's no doubt. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there are coaches that way. So the only jobs I would put the Browns ahead of right now, between not having a quarterback and knowing that you probably won't call plays, is New Orleans. They don't have a quarterback, and we don't know if you're going to get to call plays yet. Same with the Jets. I mean, I don't know if they'll have Aaron. Plus, you might have to deal with Aaron Rodgers, which will be a pain in the ass at this point. And then the Raiders don't have a quarterback, and the Browns do pick higher than all those teams in the draft.
Right.
So I would put the Browns at 6 right now.
I had them in like 4th or 5th, but then I didn't factor in the fact that you ain't calling the plays.
Right, that was it. That was part of the reason.
That's a big part of it.
That's a huge part of it. You look at it. I'm with you.
It's hard not to be.
I'm with. I mean, you laid it out brilliantly right there because when you look at what the Browns have done, and this is the crazy thing too, when you look at the coordinators that they've had, right? So the first coordinator they let go, everybody won Coach of the Year, everybody got awards, and his reward for having 5 different quarterbacks playing is he got fired.
Yeah.
Then the next year, you got another guy in Dorsey who comes in. He wasn't calling the plays. They give him the plays in the middle of the season after the quarterbacks go down. They give it to him. He gets Jameis Winston to throw for 500. They're like, nah, you're not going to play Jameis no more. You'll play DTR. He looks horrible. And then they fire this guy too. So if I'm looking at it, I'm like, so you do good, you get fired. Yeah. And when you do bad, you get fired.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to call the plays. So that's a lateral move. Like, why would I come to like why would Bull go from being a host on this show to a sidekick on another show in Cleveland? That's bad work. Like that's nasty work. Like Tyvus, you shouldn't go to Toledo to do radio. You already do radio in Columbus and you work in Cleveland. Why would you go to Toledo? What's in Toledo?
What about Dayton? You make it a Dayton?
Listen, the Browns' offensive coordinator position is Youngstown. That is Youngstown.
The Browns are Youngstown.
The Browns is Youngstown offensive coordinator, babysitting and going over like quarterback stuff. It's not an attractive job. Yeah. Even Tommy Reese, if I was him, I'm like, listen, let me get a shot somewhere else.
Yeah. Tommy Reese is actually one of the candidates Mike Vrabel's looking at in New England.
And by the way, the 3 teams I have behind the Browns, the Jets, New Orleans, and the Raiders, if any of those teams hire defensive coaches, I'm probably moving them ahead of the Browns.
Yeah.
Because the one name on this I wanted to mention was Clint Kubiak, who interviewed for the Browns offensive coordinator position yesterday. Right. Today he's in Seattle. interviewing with the Seahawks, which is why I thought this was topical because
now
that's another guy on the list.
We do have to be fair and say we don't know for sure that the OC is not going to call plays here. I think the assumption is that, hey, they let Dorsey call plays. They fired him. Kevin's doing his own way. We know he wants to call plays. So we assume he's going to call plays again, but we don't know that for sure, to be fair. But
and this is,
I think that honestly, if he hired Clint,
that'd be a good hire. Yeah.
I think that he maybe would let Clint call the plays.
You think?
I think because they speak the same language.
Right.
See, him and Ken was not on. That's two totally different styles.
Right. Okay.
of
Fair.
offense.
That's true.
With Clint, I know what you gonna call because I would have called the same thing. We running the same thing.
And your pops is the disciple.
Yeah, I learned from your pop, so I'm good with that.
I get it. Matter of fact,
if it's Tommy Reese, I need you to show me.
And at the very least, to your point, Tyvis, even if maybe he hires Clint and says, "Hey, I'm going to call plays this year, and then next year I'm turning it over to you." I think that's a possibility.
He do the same thing with Tommy Reese.
Right? He could, but Clint, he's already got. Well, he had Tommy Reese here, but
what was I know they didn't have a quarterback. What was the Saints' offensive rankings total?
Give me a sec. What?
they had Derek Carr, who's obviously not.
Yeah,
great.
that's what I'm saying. You got to take it with a grain of
And
salt.
they had a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
Kamara got hurt at the end of the year.
Chris Olave was out.
Olave missed a bunch of games at the end of the year. Even they had the other receiver got off to a great start, and then he got hurt.
Shakir's. No, Shaheed.
Raheem Shaheed, yeah.
New Orleans this season, Tyvis, finished 24th in points per game, 19.9. And in terms of total offense, we'll just go total yards per game. I know it's not the greatest stat, but they finished 21st. So
That's actually not as bad as I would have thought, considering they had Derek Carr and their whole offense was hurt.
And Carr missed like 5-6 games.
Yeah.
They also had those two crazy first games of the season.
That's true.
Where
The beginning of the season,
incredible.
they looked great those first two games. Was he calling the plays there?
He was, yes.
Okay. So how could he leave for another OC job?
The whole staff got
They
fired.
got fired.
Oh, shoot. I forgot.
They say Aaron Glenn about to go back and take it over.
Yeah, it's with Stefanski. Actually, I don't really care who they bring in as coordinator. I'm all on this game plan where, hey, it's your show, dog.
Yeah, that's right.
It's on you, man. You could bring in Scooby-Doo if you want.
I just want them to, but to that vein, there, G, bring in somebody that's his guy.
Hey, bring your people in.
That's a Stefanski guy, and that's what Kubiak is.
If y'all gonna do it to the highest degree, please, all by means, you better stockpile it, even the coaching staff.
All I know is if Clint went and took another interview today, they didn't impress him that much for what they said.
Usually, don't they say that?
You don't leave the building.
You don't.
You the guy. You ain't leaving the building.
But we gotta get your sign.
I think that's different for coaches, though. I think some of them have them scheduled ahead of Mike McCarthy has 3 interviews set up this week. He's going with the Bears,
McNuggets,
and they just announced 1 minute ago he's interviewing for the Saints job now.
McNuggets. Before I signed with the Dallas Cowboys in 2019. I went on a off-season workout tour. I worked out for like 5 days.
Oh, really?
And I had like 3 scheduled after
Bengals?
that. No, I didn't work out for the Bengals.
Remember the Bengals, man. Where were they on you? They should have been there.
They should have.
Idiots.
It is what it is. But I did like 4 or 5 workouts back to back to back to back, and I had like 2 more after that. So, and Dallas just said, we ain't going to let you leave. We want to sign you. And I'm like, all right, cool. So if that's the case, I feel like coaching, it could be the similar way. You could cancel them other. If they came in and said,
you're saying the Browns weren't that impressed?
No, I'm saying Clint Kubiak.
Was not that impressed with the Browns.
With the Browns.
Because think about it, if somebody gave you an unbelievable offer, you'd be like.
And
maybe the Browns don't give anybody offers like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to rip them because I don't know how that works. I have no idea the inner workings on that. I just want to mention one last thing to Tyvis before we move on to our last Cavs topic. Steve, take this full, but Tyvis said he's got to get one of his guys. Of the 5 guys we know that have been brought in for an interview, the top 2, Reese and Kubiak, would be considered legitimate Stefanski guys. Bevel would too. Sorry, Bevel worked in Minnesota. So Bevel, Kubiak, and Reese, legitimate Stefanski guys.
Chugging along, huh?
Koger and London, I'm not sure where the connection and how deep that goes.
I'm pretty sure he was my OC in Seattle.
So this. So you guys heard a couple of days ago when they said about the coaching staff, and Andrew Berry said, Kevin hires his own coaches, right?
Yeah.
So if that's Kevin Stefanski's responsibility, he hires his own coaches, then that would denote that he has some traditional coaching powers and the GM has traditional GM powers. So do you think that Andrew Berry could fire Kevin Stefanski?
I don't think so. I don't think he'd want to. I think they're very close.
What I'm saying, what I'm saying.
I don't know if
not closeness aside.
Yeah.
Do you think he has the ability to do that?
Probably not. I don't know that every GM has the ability to fire the head coach. And the way the Browns hired
Stefanski was here first.
Right. And he was part of the team that, was doing the interviews, I think.
Do you think, McNuggets, do you think Andrew Berry has the power to fire Kevin Stefanski?
By himself, no. No.
Do you think DePodesta does?
I have no idea, but
Yeah,
I would assume it's a Haslam. I'll be honest.
I think
it's
so you're saying that each three of those individuals report to Jimmy Haslam individually?
Probably.
That's wild.
But I will tell you this.
But I think that's real quick, Bull. I think that's pretty similar for a lot of.
I don't think
NFL
there's a
teams.
lot of GMs that can fire the coach.
Yeah, I'm with Bull. I don't think.
You think they didn't be back in the day? That was like the.
Yeah, but I think that's changed. I mean, look at all the good teams. None of those teams, the GM couldn't
A
fire
lot
the
of
coach.
the times, the head coach got the most power.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they're siloed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some teams more than others, but
Yeah.
that's why it's important for the coach and the GM to be on the same page.
Yeah, like basically they're at the hip. Like so because and the reason I asked that because in the offseason people were floating the idea that Berry should go and Kevin Stefanski should stay.
Well, see, I was more for firing Berry than Stefanski, and then I was like, let's fire them both. And then I flip-flopped, obviously, and said keep them both. And the reason I wanted to keep Berry also, even though I was initially more in favor of firing him than Stefanski, is that the one, if nothing else, the one good thing you could say about this regime, this current regime, whether you like it or not, is that there's been every other regime in the last 20 years, there's been infighting between coach and GM. And that has not been the case here.
Yeah, it hasn't.
These guys are both nerds.
Yes, at the highest level.
Yes. And
Highest
so
level.
I don't think we have that issue. And I think that if you did fire Andrew Berry, and if you brought in a new GM and he wasn't on the same page with Kevin, that's not a great thing.
And now we get to see this year everything is proven.
Everything's proven.
Now it's like, oh,
Everything's proven.
Both of y'all.
100%.
They are going to sink or swim together this year,
Yes.
100%. I think they're both out if the Browns are a mess next year. And by the way, it doesn't mean they even have to make the playoffs. Obviously, we want them to.
8-9.
The organization has to be clearly, without a doubt, going in the right direction at minimum
100%.
at the end of next year.
7 and
Otherwise,
10.
they're both gone. I'm not even going to put a record on it. They got to be clear.
You
It's
know what
got to
it
be
look like.
obvious. We have to feel good about the team.
You know what it looked like, Tyvus.
You know when you see it.
Yes.
You
know
know
it.
when you see it.
Yeah.
Because they can have a rookie quarterback if he's playing
when
and they
it
don't
look-
win games, but they're playing.
Right.
There are a lot of
know when
things
it
that could impact
Listen,
that.
Minnesota won 14 this year. Do you feel great if you're a Minnesota fan
No.
right now? You don't
No.
feel great.
They did the same thing. They did
Steelers
like,
won 10.
wasn't it
You feeling
2
great
years-
if you're a
2 or
Steelers
3
fan right
years
now?
ago, they did the exact
They
same
Case
thing.
Keenum games.
You know it when you see it.
You know.
know it.
That's
Yeah,
what
it was
is.
Kirk Cousins was still there.